Hi, I am Whitney Sullivan, the RT Assistant Web Editor, and I am here with the fabulous Alyxandra Harvey, who is one of the YA vampire author, although that is just the beginning of her great authoring story. So I have a couple of quick questions for you. The first is, your Drake Chronicles are a vampire series unlike anything else that's out there. Can you tell me a little bit about them and about the amazingly diverse vampires who live in their world with them?
Actually, it started as a Snow White story. I wanted to retell the Snow White fairy tale.
Oh, no way.
And I thought, okay, well, vampires works, and I've always loved vampires. Tiny Huff books in the 90s when I was in high school. My best friend and I used to switch them back and forth and absolutely adored them. And Buffy, of course. Joss Whedon can do no wrong. I will say that on tape. So I wanted to redo Snow White. I love fairy tales, and I always want the girl to kick butt. And I thought, for Snow White, that would work really well as a vampire story. And then she had 7 brothers. They're all really cute, and they're very unwieldy. So it kind of exploded from there. And I wanted her as a vampire sort of princess, not to be a princessy character.
And I think that you absolutely achieved that. Those girls are people who I would want to give to my sisters, to be like, see these gals, be these gals.
That's nice, thank you.
So can you tell me a little bit, also you've done a great job with making Mama Drake so kick butt. So can you tell me a little bit about what inspired you?
I like to turn things upside down a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with the dad being protective. I think the dad is protective in the book too, but I wanted the mother to be sort of more fierce, and she's kind of bloodthirsty, and she's a little bit violent. That's not necessarily a good thing, it just happens to work in her world. And she's a mama bear. Her first thing is to protect. But she tends to cause trouble protecting, kind of like Lucy. In her quest to help, she kind of makes more trouble, but I think that's fun, so.
I'd believe it. And I'm looking forward to seeing what other trouble she gets up to as the series progresses. Can you tell me, now in your very first book in the Drake series, Hearts at Stake, you have 2 heroines. Can you tell me what made you decide to share that story between Solange and Lucy?
I knew that I wanted to do first-person point of view, but I didn't want to get stuck in one place because the story was going in so many different sort of roads. I didn't want to lose the action, so I thought, for one part, having 2 characters, I could be in 2 different places at once. And really, most of the story is actually a friendship story. I mean, there's action and adventure, and there's vampires, and there's romance, but it's really about the friendship between these 2 girls. And they're so different that I wanted to see sort of both ends. And because one's a human and one's a vampire, I wanted to see both worlds.
You absolutely do that. You also, in Blood Feud, do a great job of pulling in these 2 worlds together with Isabeau, who starts out in the French Revolution, right? And then, we have her going on with Solange in the present world.
I'm very mean to Isabeau. I'm sorry.
You really are.
She was a lot of fun to write, though.
Can you tell us a little bit about what made you decide to carry that journey through the French Revolution on?
I adore historical fiction. I just really love the costumes, and I love having the details of what they ate and how they lived, and how on a fundamental level, they're still people. They have the same wants and needs and likes and dislikes as we do now. So I wanted that connection, and I thought the French Revolution is it's not overplayed, but it's so dramatic, and there's so much politics, and there's really so many torturous things I could do to my characters. That's pretty much why I did it. There's cobblestones and pretty clothes, and I can be really mean.
And you definitely are.
I am, yeah.
She really is. And can you tell me, that actually works so perfectly because Isabeau is such a great match for your more gothic Drake brother, Logan. So can you tell me how you knew, because you started out with Logan as one of the Drake brothers, can you tell me how you knew kind of who to match him with?
I thought something in Logan would speak to Isabeau in a way that would let her take some of her guards down, because she's very reserved and she's very serious and sort of very quiet, but she's very fierce. And she, I think, would have been used to a certain way of looking, obviously, being in the French Revolution. She was an aristocrat before the revolution hit, and I was very, very mean to her and all of her family. So she would have been used to seeing these men and these boys in these like lovely frock coats and cravats and very sort of embellished materials and fabrics. And I thought, for the sort of gothic boy of now, there really is that connection to an ancient, either medieval or French Revolution or Regency. There's that connection. So there would have been something in that would have been sort of comforting to her, so that she could have had that opportunity to sort of open up some doors. I mean, suspicious too, because she's a suspicious character, but it would have been comforting, I guess.
I'd say absolutely, especially because you throw her into the hounds, which are your mystical vampires as part of your diverse vampire world. What inspiration did you draw to create those hounds, which are so different from your peaceful Drake family?
They are. In sort of the series books, my idea roughly is to deal with a different tribal vampire or a different group of characters for each book. So for the hounds, they're actually named after a Welsh word called the Cwn Mamau, and it's the hounds of the mother, and it's a Celtic word. I had some big ideas of the Wild Hunt. They're not Wild Hunt-ish, but they have that sort of feeling to them. And I have 3 dogs of my own. I have my own pack, so it's really easy for me to just throw dogs in there and know what they do.
I was going to say, because they take up a lot of the story, this connection that
Yes.
the vampires have, especially Logan, who's just getting used to them being part of the world. So
It's sort of their totem, I guess, yeah, you could say, for that tribal character. And I love ancient history, I love rites of passage and that sort of tribal wisdom, and it was sort of my way to play with that.